Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Word on Wealth. Oh, I love today. Today is I like learning and I like providing information to people, especially our listeners here on the Word on Wealth. And today we have my friend and my expert and my mentor, and that is Jim Robeson. He is the Medicare answer guy. So if you have any questions regarding Medicare at all, whether it doesn't even matter what it is, just any questions regarding Medicare, there's some big serious deadlines that are coming up. We're going to be talking about them. There might be a lot of terrified people January 1st if they don't get something done soon. And we're going to be talking about that here today on the show. So I want to welcome Jim Robeson. Welcome to the Word on Wealth. How you doing, man?
Good afternoon, Gary, and happy belated Thanksgiving. I hope you ate a lot.
I love Thanksgiving. It is such a cool holiday because the expectations are a lot lower than Christmas. I love Christmas, favorite holiday ever, but Thanksgiving is right up there because it's like, we don't have a lot of expectations. There's a lot of food, but the prep for it isn't as big of a deal. And then thank Chris, I guess partly because Thanksgiving is over and now it's like, okay, now seriously preparing for Christmas. So here we
The
are.
only expectation is to remember to be thankful, and we have a lot to be thankful for.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's like I do that. I have a gratitude journal I write in every day. And it's like,
Amen.
it's amazing. It's interesting. Even on Thanksgiving Day, I'm going, what else should I write about? It's like all these little things. If you try to think of something every day, like if I said to you, like, Jim, tell me 10 things you're grateful for, you could do it. And if I asked you that every single day, you'd be going like, okay, that's getting more difficult and more difficult. And what I've been doing is I think it's been about I don't know, 4 or 5 years, but I do, one thing every day and try not to repeat. It is like, it's really pretty fun. So anyway, being grateful. I appreciate you saying
Amen.
that. All right. Um, okay. So with Medicare, of course, it's something that is out near and dear to me now because
The
on
clock's ticking, right?
Well, it's because it is actually on my calendar for this Friday because of you. On my calendar, this Friday says, get your red, white, and blue. And I went, wait a minute. Jim told me to do that. So I start the process and now I'm all of a sudden really interested. And so so I'm like, oh, this is so fun. I get to talk to Jim today. But let's the thing is, right now we are in the annual enrollment period. Um, and so does that apply to anybody that's already 65, or how does that apply to people?
It only applies to those that are already on Medicare and have a Medicare Advantage plan
Mhm.
or a prescription drug plan. If you're still working and you haven't completely transitioned to Medicare because you're on your employer health plan, it doesn't matter. If you have a Medicare supplement plan, we call the permanent Cadillac plan, it doesn't relate to that. It only relates to those that are on a Medicare Advantage plan, HMO, or a prescription drug plan. And of course, it seems that AEP blew up this year in San Diego because 32,000 people who are on a Medicare Advantage HMO plan with a number of insurance companies will lose their Scripps Clinic, Scripps Coastal doctor. And the clock is ticking. They have 10 more days to make a choice to switch to a different plan or change of doctors. So the clock is ticking. And my sense is this, Gary, based on the people I'm talking to, there are going to be a lot of people wake up January 1st, like you mentioned, thinking they still have their Scripps doctor, walk into the doctor's office, and they're going to go, you're not covered. And that's going to be unfortunate.
That seems crazy, but you know what? I swear, since we had the pandemic, I think we got our feet swept out from under us, and it happened so many times. And there's always some little, disaster, and it was averted just by some little hair. Like, the government will save me. They'll take care of me. They did it over and over. Of course, we now find out that, oh, wow, we really shouldn't have been that stupid. But I just think that there are so many people, you're right, that are just like, oh, come on. That's can't be true. Why? How could 32,000 people suddenly lose their coverage? That's not true. But it's been in the newspaper. It's been on the news. It's been on TV. It's now out in everybody's ads. It's like, I still think there are people that just go, nah, not going to really happen. Somebody's going to save my bacon at the last second. That's not going to happen.
It's not gonna be the government, and it's probably not going to be the insurance company because, see, and this is unfortunate. My estimate is upwards of 40% of those 32,000 don't have a broker. And so they don't know who to turn to. And if they try to call their insurance company, they'll be on wait for 30 minutes.
2 minutes to the break.
Hopefully that's going to lower. And so, yeah, so 10 days, the clock is ticking, and we can talk about some solutions, on the other end,
Okay.
on the other side.
If people want to get a hold of Jim, there's two ways to do it. His number, 858-935-9120. Again, 858-935-9120. The easiest way to get a hold of Jim really is go to his website, themedicareanswerguy.com, themedicareanswerguy.com. And if you go on the website, there's a contact button tab thing. You click on that, and then you can look at his calendar and get an appointment with him for your initial consultation to go over your options and what's available. So if you are one of the, if you had Scripps Coastal, you're not going to have coverage January 1st. You've got to do something, or you're going to wake up surprised, and don't be stuck like a huge herd of people that are going to be stuck like, oh, wow, I don't have my doctor. Now what? And they're all going to be trying to scramble immediately to get a new doctor. So get ahead of that curve. Go to themedicareanswerguy.com, click on the contact tab, and get an appointment with Jim so you can go over your options. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about the Medicare Advantage Plan Part D, the MAPD, Medicare Prescription Plan. We got to talk about how to avoid that January 1st wake up and be shocked. We're going to be talking about that, giving you options. So keep listening here on The Word on Wealth. You're here with Gary Quackenbush and Jim Robeson, the Medicare Answer Guy. Go to themedicareanswerguy.com, themedicareanswerguy.com. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back in just a second.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to The Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We're here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked hard for with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary and the team at gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST. You're saving and investing for the future, and that's good. Have you ever stopped to think, where does my money actually go? This is Faith-Based Investing with Anthony Wright.
Most Christian families don't understand this one thing. The money that you're saving for retirement helps fund the abortion industry as well as other liberal anti-family causes. It's the sad, dirty little secret of American investing world. And here's the good news, though. You probably also didn't know that just a few minutes of your time, and we'll screen and clean your investments for you. There's no cost, no obligation. Learn the truth about your own investment mix. Then the choice is yours. Remember, the word says when God's money is in the hands of the righteous, the people rejoice. Well, we also are fiduciary investment advisor representatives. That means that our firm makes a pledge to always act in your best interest. Go to BibleSafeInvesting.com. Download a free copy of my book, Faith-Based Investing, or call me at 931-RETIRED. And please don't forget, listen to Faith-Based Investing this weekend right here on Family Talk.
So, Gary, we've talked a long time about estate administration. So what is that, and why is it important?
Estate administration is the distribution part of estate planning. So when someone passes away and they leave money to beneficiaries, the property has to be administered. So it's like taking it from the decedent to the survivor. That's called the estate administration process. So usually you're going to have a successor trustee that's named in the trust. So have no idea what they're doing because they've never done it before. So then they call on
You can hear me okay, right?
them step by step on.
Okay, cool.
a sig-
I think if I remember right, Todd gives you a 2 minute and then he says 1 minute and then just runs that bed.
the Department of Health Services and all the legal requirements so that they can have the
And then the pro talks up the bed right to the break.
be successful.
Yep. Call or click to request your free consultation. GQlaw.com. 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
Who will you trust with the biggest financial decision of your lifetime? If you're planning to buy or sell a home in San Diego County, do what I do and work with the true San Diego real estate experts. Ken Pecos and the Pecos Group helped me and my family. They can help you. This is Gary Quackenbush of The Word on Wealth. You hear Ken every week here on The Word on Wealth. He's our expert. He's got integrity, exceptional service, deep knowledge of the San Diego, Coronado, and South Bay regions. These are just some of the reasons that Ken Pecos has completed hundreds of transactions. He manages a powerful team of professionals at the Pecos Group, from single-family attached homes to luxury high-value waterfront properties to apartment buildings. Ken Pecos is ready to help you avoid problems and costly mistakes. Learn more online at kenpecos.com. That's Ken Pecos, Pecus.com. Or call 619-977-8419.
DRE number 010566969, brokered by eXp Realty.
Did you know that
About this broadcast outreach, The Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Call or click to request your free initial consultation or to talk with a member of the team. Call Gary at 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
Right. We've got Jim Robeson, the MedicareAnswerGuide.com. Get in contact with him if you're in the open enrollment period now. And we've also got the, annual enrollment period. That's to December 7th. And then you got the open enrollment period that's starting up in January. So let's talk with Jim about a couple of different things we want to finish up on. So Jim, we're almost done. The annual enrollment period is closing December 7th. And now we wanted to talk about, finish up on that, but we wanted to be talking about the Medicare Advantage Plan Part D. Because you made a comment to me, you said, Gary, the last MAPD application in wins. And I went, what the heck? I know that's Medicare Advantage Plan Part D, but what do you mean by that?
Well, the Medicare Advantage HMO plan during annual enrollment period, if you've changed your Medicare Advantage plan and you wake up one morning and go, oh, you know what? I just heard that there's a new plan. It's called the Medicare Advantage PPO plan. And it's got all the benefits of the HMO, and I can still see my Scripps doctor. Maybe I ought to call Jim and find out what that's about. Well, during the annual enrollment period, the last application, if you decide that you wanted to do something like that, on December 7th, you could enroll and you'd be in. Doesn't matter how many times you change your plan during the annual enrollment period. Here's my concern. Whether it's the annual enrollment period or when the open enrollment, we'll discuss, review that, we're running out of doctors. I try to find people a doctor in a different plan, not accepting new patients, not accepting new patients, not accepting new patients. That's the real issue. We can find different plans, but the doctor that you want it's not a Scripps doctor, it's not a coastal doctor, it's another doctor with, let's say Sharp or UCSD, or there's just a host of other medical groups. Many of them, because there's 32,000 people looking for a new doctor, they can't handle anymore. So they're not accepting any new patients at this time. So that's the major concern. Now, what's this OEP, Open Enrollment Period?
Mhm.
I think the government realized that there are a lot of people who don't make any changes. And so during the Open Enrollment Period, and I've had a couple of clients do this, say, you know what? I don't want Medicare Advantage because it restricts me. I don't want to pay $200 or $300 a month for a Med Sup plan. I'm just going to go back to original Medicare and enroll in a prescription drug plan, and I can see any doctor that I want to. Now, they're going to have to pay 20% of the bill, but they're willing to do that because I guess they have finances. But also during OEP, the Open Enrollment Period, starting January 1st through the end of March, you can make one final decision on your Medicare Advantage plan. So I don't know what the percentage is, but a lot of people out of that 32,000 probably will not make a change here before December 7th. They have one last opportunity to do that either in January, February, or March.
Okay.
But they got to contact somebody.
Right.
In the meantime, if you show up at your doctor's office, Scripps Clinic and Coastal, you may find that you can't use your plan anymore. So that's our concern, because there are a lot of doctors who just cannot handle the load anymore.
Let me ask a question then. If let's say, and I don't know, and I haven't asked you this ahead of time. Let's say that somebody is with Scripps Coastal, and they now basically say, sorry, we're not taking Advantage plans, go away, basically. If you then, could that person say, okay, I'm going to get a permanent plan, I'm going to get a Med Sup plan and stay with that doctor at Scripps Coastal?
You can do that. However, it's a little complicated. Because Medicare says you can't have a Medicare Advantage plan and a Medicare supplement plan at the same time. So if you're going to transition to a Medicare supplement that allow you to see your Scripps Clinic and Coastal doctors, that needs to be done now, because the way we do it is you enroll in a prescription drug plan first. Once that prescription drug plan has been approved, they send a letter to your current Medicare Advantage plan, and your Advantage plan terminates on December 31st. You get a termination letter from your Advantage plan, and we enroll you in the supplement plan. Well, December 7th is the last day you can enroll in a prescription drug plan. So we've got 10 more days to do that. And hopefully, and we're still open on December 7th, and I'm assuming, and I'm thinking that we'll be very busy, because believe me, I have more people wanting to do that than anything else, because they see the value of a permanent Medicare supplement plan that allows them to go to any doctor, any hospital, any clinic, without a referral, without pre-authorization, and without possible denial of the claim. And all of those features, referral, pre-authorization, and denial, they're part of a temporary Medicare Advantage plan. It can happen. I'm not saying it will, but it can.
Well, it seems to me with the notices and notifications that I get, I mean, I live in the tax world. I live in the estate planning world. I live in the world of, people aging, of people dying. I live in that world professionally. And I just don't see things getting better. And I don't mean to be a downer about it, but just kind of in reality, this may feel to some people like, okay, this is the government, forcing me. They're forcing my hand to go and write out a check for a premium, for a Medicare supplement plan. They're forcing my hand. But, to me, it's almost like maybe it's like, yeah, so you got to act. You can get mad about it. And you can say, this isn't fair. That's just like complaining about Social Security should have gone up higher this year. They should have gone a higher percentage. For crying out loud, the inflation is 12%. I should get 12% more on my Social Security, and I'm not. But it's like, well, you can complain about it, but it's not going to change anything by complaining. And I just see this ever since we've been started to talk about. I mean, to me, there's just this thing ringing in my head saying, this is the way it is. Because the government they're trying to figure out a way to get less money spent, government money spent with the taxes they're collecting, because we're going down a really crazy spiral. There's wars going on. The government is spending more money. They're trying to ramp up the IRS to collect more money from taxpayers. They're trying to do all this. And the government is trying to support Medicare, and they're trying to support Social Security. And this is one way that they're making it, I think, harder to be able to survive on a Medicare Advantage plan. If you don't mind getting bumped around and have the uncertainty, I can tell you for a fact, with my dad, when he got sick, it was his lung doctor fighting with his cardiologist, fighting with his all these different doctors, and they all had different opinions, but they were with him for a really, really long time. And every time a doctor would retire, it was a disaster. I mean, an unmitigated disaster, because then it was like the new doctor comes in and goes, well, we have this new medication that'll probably help your blood pressure. And they would switch him to the medication. And we almost lost him a couple of times because the doctor tried something new, as opposed to the doctor that had been with him for 10 years saying, we've tried that, we've tried that, we tried that. So I can't imagine getting to the point where you're dependent on medical care, which we all get to that point. Really, really, really lucky ones, maybe not. But then having to switch out because of something that happens, like with Scripps. We're looking at this like, Scripps Coastal, whatever. I don't care. I'm going to get a new doctor. Somebody's going to assign and take care of me. But what if you really were using the doctor and you needed somebody? You needed your oncologist that's really, okay, we got to try this. We're going to tweak this. We're going to try that. I mean, as we get older, medical is more technical. And then assigning you a new doctor. I've gone to new doctors and I was ticked. I went to a new doctor and I walked in and she says, oh, you need this and this. I said, whoa, wait a minute. My last doctor, who just retired, said, absolutely not. Why not, Gary? Because of this and this. Oh, well, right. Yeah. You're right. We shouldn't do what I just said. And it really annoyed me. I thought, thank goodness I wasn't in the middle of, anyway. So I'm all for this. Take control of your situation. It's going to cost a few bucks, but
2 minutes.
Get a med sup plan. So, and I'm not advocating for that, although I'm advocating for that. Make it so that you have control of your life. Apply for a med sup, but you got to get an agent. And I say to use Jim. I mean, he's a great guy. He's a family man. He's, God-fearing guy. He's a good guy. His number is 858-935-9120. And don't wait. You don't have that much time. Jim's already getting slammed, but go to themedicareanswerguy.com and get on his calendar. Themedicareanswerguy.com, click on contact, put in your information. If you can't figure it out, get some help, but just get it done. And you can't wait. I mean, the time is just screaming by. So get your options from Jim. Am I good?
You are good. And here's what I found. Final comment.
Yes.
I don't want to be at the whims of the government. And that's what you are with a Medicare Advantage plan. If you can't afford the premium,
1 minute.
Your only choice. But if you can find the money, and it's really not that much. I mean, we all get used to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and all these giveaways. We get used to that. But how much do you want control over your medical?
Mm-hmm.
One final story. I have a friend who's on a Medicare supplement plan. She got hurt. She's in skilled nursing. We can choose any skilled nursing place that she wants to, as long as they accept the red, white, and blue card. If she was on an Advantage plan, she wouldn't have that choice.
Nope.
And believe me,
Mm-hmm.
I want to have that choice, especially in skilled nursing.
Absolutely. 100%. And what Jim is saying is absolutely true. That's from experience. You guys get control of the situation. Don't let the government decide for you. That's just a bad idea. Go to Jim's website, themedicareanswerguy.com. Get on his calendar.
Questions. We've
Thanks, Jim.
answers. This is the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary's here to give you peace of mind with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary to build, protect, and transfer your wealth. 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
Economic conditions and high inflation made it difficult for you in retirement? Hi, I'm Shane Sletter, the mortgage advisor on the Word on Wealth. You hear me with Gary Quackenbush, answering your questions every Tuesday at 2 p.m. For over 20 years in San Diego, I've specialized in home financing solutions for seniors as they get older and their families. If you qualify, a reverse mortgage allows you to convert part of your home equity into either a lump sum, line of credit, or much needed monthly income. You're insured and protected against ever owing more than the value of your home. And you don't have to sell your home, give up title, or get new conventional mortgage financing with monthly payments. The program is designed to make it easier for seniors to qualify. I will walk you through every step of the process. To receive a free reverse mortgage guide by mail, text REVERSE to 858-683-1716, or give me a call on my direct number, 858-683-1716.
Licensed with the state of California. NMLS ID number 239958. DRE number 01174642.
You're not alone. Ask for the legal help you need. Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free consultation or to talk with a member of the GQ team. That's GQlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
Welcome to the Word on Wealth. I'm glad to have you along. This is good. We just had a great conversation with Jim Robeson, the Medicare Answer Guy. Open enrollment period ends December 8th. I'm sorry, annual enrollment. There's all these. This is too confusing. Annual enrollment period ends December 7th. Open enrollment is January 1st through March 31st. And if you want to understand Medicare, there's only one person that I would go to, and that is Jim Robeson. Yeah, because he's got this crazy deadline right now, Jim's really good. He's hard to get a hold of. There's a reason for that. Go to the MedicareAnswerGuy.com, click on contact, get an appointment with him. It's going to be a short one, maybe 15. I think it's a 15-minute segment that he gets you in for. And then he can give you your options that you have and let him talk you through it. And he helped my brother. He's helped me. He's helped clients. That's where I send people that have questions regarding Medicare. So Jim Robeson, the MedicareAnswerGuy.com. All right. So speaking of aging, the one thing that I am the most concerned about in the last recent many years is waiting too late. So I don't mean, just like waiting too late. I could have saved money, or I could have made, dang, I should have bought on Black Friday or Cyber Monday or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about with your estate planning decisions that you need to make regarding your healthcare decisions, regarding your financial decisions, regarding your estate planning decisions, like if you became incapacitated or once you die. We already know, everybody knows 100%, anybody that's alive is going to die. Okay, it's 100% chance of death. Lesser chance, but still huge, is the chance of becoming incapacitated. There's a 70% chance of that. Now, the thing with incapacity is it means that you are legally incapable of making decisions, which means you couldn't go to your bank to make a withdrawal. You couldn't write a check. You wouldn't be able to log online. You wouldn't know what's going on. And you may be fine hanging out with your grandkids, having a good time, experiencing life, but you wouldn't be legally capable of, figuring out medical things. Now, sometimes it happens because of Alzheimer's, that sometimes leads to dementia, maybe vascular dementia, maybe just some memory things that are clicking. It just happens. All of us, as we get older, our processes just slow down. And that's why you usually see when you were a young kid, you probably remember this, you're young and thinking, oh my gosh, grandpa is so slow. He just responds so slowly. I ask him a question and he doesn't answer me. And then he answers me slowly. The metaphysical part of that, literally, it takes longer for it to go in. As we get older, it takes longer to go in your ear, get processed, and respond. It doesn't mean you're not smart anymore. It doesn't mean you've lost it. It's just reality. It's like with your eyes. Have you ever noticed at night when you're driving how it just seems like, dang, these street lights are just, I remember them being brighter. They are brighter. We just can't see as well. Did you know that statistically your eyes at age, and I think this was like at age 50, your eyes receive 15% of the light they received when you were a teenager. That's an 85% reduction. That's why I know with my daughter, I go, I can't quite read this. And you're thinking, oh, it's because the print is too small. It's because there's not enough light coming into my eyeballs to be able to read the teeny tiny text. So my daughter does it, or my grandson, he looks at stuff. He can stick his nose really close to the page to read it. I can't, because I can't focus that close. But it just happens. We just age. And so what happens now is if you wait too long to make decisions, you think, oh, I'll do it someday. I'll do it someday. What if you get to a point where the I'll do it someday is just too late? You become incapacitated. And for me, this is, it's not about me, I understand, but it is really difficult as an attorney if somebody asks me, I've been talking to mom and she really wants to make a change to her estate plan because she feels bad about whatever, some decision they made, and now she's getting older and more mellow. She wants to even things up. If I end up meeting with mom or dad and they really, maybe that is what they want. Maybe on a lucid moment, they've expressed that, but they can't tell me about it. And I'm not convinced that they are, all there as far as making a decision about where their stuff should be given or who should be in the trust or out. If I'm not comfortable with that, I just don't do it. I can't, because I don't want that responsibility of making this determination of, that they're incapacitated. So if you can't express to me what you really want, for whatever reason, I'm going to have a really hard time. And typically I can't do anything about it. So if you wait too long, you wait to incapacity, that's too late. Okay. So a lot of times what will happen is you have like a husband and wife, for example, and they're always thinking, yeah, we should do this, we should do that. Maybe we should change it. Maybe we want to give money to our grandkids, or maybe we want to give less money to this child because he's really bad with money. In fact, he wastes so much money because people take advantage of him. Maybe we should make it so that he doesn't have as much to waste. Or maybe you have a child that's struggling with alcohol abuse or drug abuse, and you're thinking, gosh, they just can't handle money. Well, if you wait too long and then try to do an amendment or a change to your trust, and it cuts out that child or restricts money just being distributed to that child or something like that, that's going to end up in a trust contest. It just happens, or they're going to fight about it. Especially if they go, well, that's interesting because I went with my dad to the doctor, and the doctor was saying like, your dad's is kind of struggling with his numbers and kind of remembering things. And I'm a little concerned about his mental acuity. If you start hearing that, and the next thing you know, mom's amended the trust or dad's amended the trust, that's an issue. That's something we have to talk about. And it may be an invalid alteration of the trust. It may be valid. I'm not saying it always is, always invalid, but it could be something that would be a problem. And that's because you wait too long. Car accident, disease, sometimes if you get a disease, you go, oh no, this disease is going to end my life, and you can hurry up and do an estate plan. Well, lucky you. That's like, having a premonition you're going to die and buy life insurance the day before, but it just doesn't happen that way. Think about your estate plan as kind of this security blanket that after you die, things are going to be a little bit better than they were. And it's not 100%. Okay. I'm not guaranteeing that if you do an estate plan, everything's going to be wonderful and super, squeaky clean, super easy pleasy. Everybody's going to sit around and, and just be so happy that everything was done perfectly. It's just not that way, but it is a lot less difficult when an estate plan is done properly. So if you have a good estate plan that's done properly, it's properly witnessed, it's properly notarized, it says things clearly on what's supposed to happen. That makes it so after your death, when your kids are trying to administer, distribute, hand out things, they can do the accounting easier. They can find where things are, and they know what to do. That makes it easier, so that once we get done with the final arrangements, the burial, the memorial service, the celebration of life, whatever you have kind of helped your kids understand that's what you want, or even your surviving spouse. Once that's done, then you talk legal stuff, and that's going to be like, okay, what needs to change? What things do we have to do? Do we have to do notification? And the answer is, after you pass away, whether it's the first spouse or second spouse, there's always legal work that needs to be done. Okay. But let's say then you're thinking, okay, as long as one of us is alive, because I've had clients say this, they'll say, well, Gary, as long as my wife's alive or one of us is alive, we can make changes to the trust, right? The answer is right. If one of you is alive and that one that's alive is still competent, then yeah, you can make changes to your trust. Ask me how many times I've found that that's not the case. In other words, I've too many times to count where the first spouse passes away because you're kind of like going, oh, we're just going to wait. When one of us dies, you can amend the trust. And that might be wishful thinking. I don't know what you would call it, but I've had too many times where the that's the thought. Dad dies, and now mom is like, oh, wow, there was that one thing I wanted to do. The kids remembered it because they talked about it, but mom's now in no condition to make any changes. That's the big disaster I'm talking about. We cannot always gamble that only one will die or that only one will be incapacitated. We just can't gamble on that. It's not worth it. What you're doing is you're kind of gambling on your kids' sanity. And even if you have a wonderful family and all your kids get along and love each other, there's a lot of stress after someone dies, because when you pass away, somebody's going to deal with all of your money stuff. Just think about that. Paying the bills, paying the insurance, figuring things out, taking care of the house, selling the house, all those different things. And if your wishes are laid out in a trust, it's 100% better than doing just a will. I'll say it's 80%, 90% better than doing just a will, but it's 100% better than doing nothing at all. Especially today, you got to do it. Get your estate plan done. Let me help you with that. 855-500-TRUST. Let's get your estate plan in order. We can get it done in 2 weeks. 855-500-TRUST. Give me a call. Let me help you out. Get your estate plan done. All right. We'll be back right here on the Word on Wealth.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We're here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked hard for with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary and the team at gqlaw.com. 855-500-TRUST.
So Gary, we've talked a long time about estate administration. So what is that and why is it important?
Estate administration is the distribution part of estate planning. So when someone passes away and they leave money to beneficiaries, the property has to be administered. So it's like taking it from the decedent to the survivor. That's called the estate administration process. So usually you're going to have a successor trustee that's named in the trust. So have no idea what they're doing because they've never done it before. So then they call on GQ Law and we walk them step by step on how to be a successful and good successor trustee. We also do the required notifications. We notify the Department of Health Services and all the legal requirements so that they can have the estate administration done properly. We help successor trustees be successful.
Call or click to request your free consultation. gqlaw.com. 855-500-TRUST. gqlaw.com.
The Answer San Diego has gone interactive.
Not alone. Ask for the legal help you need. Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free consultation or to talk with a member of the GQ team. That's gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
All right, on the Word on Wealth here, we are talking about estate planning, and I am encouraging you, if you are ready to do your estate plan, you're ready to talk about it, figure out what to do, I'm happy to be your person. I would be, just give me a call, 855-500-TRUST, and we can do it. What we've worked out with my team is we basically set up, we've done this is our standard procedure, is typically we're about 2 weeks turnaround on getting a living trust, a complete estate plan, will, trust, power of attorneys, healthcare directives, all those documents that you need. We can put them all together and we have about a 2-week turnaround time. So even, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes if there's holidays or breaks or something like that, sometimes there's a little bit of a delay, like maybe 2 weeks is not possible. Or if you need more time, that's fine. Typically what we're doing is we meet, talk about all the exciting options that you have, decide what was best for you, and then we will have you fill out a worksheet with a bunch of information. That's enough information to get us going. We call and ask additional questions, and we can get an estate plan done in a couple of weeks. So if you have put it off and it's time, that's, my thing is once you are, once you're thinking about it, just do it. Come in and get your free initial consultation with me. That'll be a free 30-minute consultation with me, 855-500-TRUST. If we decide to set up your estate plan, you're ready to do it, then we can get that done. And our 2-week turnaround time is pretty typical. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but we can do that. Okay, so what's the deal with an estate plan? The incapacity issue is what we've been dealing with quite a bit. And I think, we talked about that probably enough. My other concern really is after you pass away, there's work that has to be done. The estate needs to be settled. Money that you've designated going to kids or grandchildren, that's got to be resolved. But in the meantime, there's going to be a wind down of everything. Some of the biggest fights that I see are over personal property. If there's some piece of personal property that you think is particularly valuable, or the kids want to fight over it or something like that, you need to consider what to do about that. Should you put it in as a specific distribution in your trust? Should you do it as like a distribution outside of your estate plan with a will? Should you change title? There's different options to figure out how to deal with that. Now, what I've seen some people do, and these are just options that I've seen. Okay. I'm not recommending one over the other, but I have seen where the kids were taking interest in a particular vehicle. Okay. Like a classic car, it needed restoration, but it was really this cool family car. And what the dad decided to do was sell the car. It needed to be fixed up. So it was worth, whatever dollar amount, $5,000 or $10,000. And he just put that money in the bank. The kids were not happy about that because they're saying like, well, I wanted that car. I mean, I would restore that. That's my thing. And the challenge was that there were more than one of his kids that thought the same way. I want that car. I could fix that thing up. That would be my, that'll be my baby. Well, then the dad just said, I don't think I want my kids to fight over that. So as far as they don't let kids fight over things, that was a good move. Worked out for him. I have seen where in the trust itself, you can create your trust document, and the way the distributions are set up in a trust is you have specific distributions, certain things, certain dollar amounts, certain percentages, and then you have everything else, which is called the remainder. So in your specific distribution section, you say the 1968 Camaro goes to my daughter so-and-so, period, right? If she's alive, if she survives, or if she outlives us, if she survives the trustors. And if not, then it will go to her brother. Or if not, then it just goes into the remainder, which now that car is part of the remainder, and there's going to be an issue who gets it and whatever. But at least there's been an initial statement. People do that with antiques, sometimes with cars, sometimes with specific items that maybe a kid has kind of laid claim to and said, yeah, I want that piece of property, will it to me, or put it, that's the term, will it to me, but it's really improper. It's put it in the trust and let me have it. So sometimes parents want to do that, or they put a list of items that are going to go to each of the kids. As soon as you start, doing that kind of stuff and sharing it with the kids, like, oh, well, your sister gets that and you can have this and whatever. Sometimes it gets a little confusing, or maybe there's going to be some emotions that flare. Maybe you want to just not do that. It just depends on your kids. But what I've seen for options is actually listing it in the trust. I've seen lists where you make a personal property list, and that list of certain items of personal property, not bank accounts, not like money accounts and stuff, but you can make a list, attach it to your will. The will specifically refers to that list for distribution of items of personal property, and that can take place as part of your will. So those are some of the decisions, but not planning just lets there be a big mess. And if the kids, have some particularly strong feelings about one thing they want or another, then sometimes that leads to fights. They're not irresolvable. They don't necessarily create irreconcilable differences. However, I've seen that many, many times, that the big problem is over the little stuff. And by that, I mean, what I mean is you have an estate that's worth, $2 or $3 million, a huge estate. And there's 3 kids that are going to split it up. So let's say each kid gets $1 million. I've seen estates where these 3 kids, each of them get $1 million basically. And the fight was over the doll collection, or the Yadros, which are those little statues, or the one-of-a-kind things. I've seen fights over photo albums, like literally, we're going to hold up the entire process until the photos are distributed because one kid has possession of the photos and the other kids want them. Well, resolving those as part of the trust makes a good idea, makes for good sense to me. You assign somebody to be the successor trustee of your trust who will follow your direction. And if the photos are to be distributed equally amongst the kids, how do you do that? There's only one copy of each photo, so you can have the photos reproduced. That's going to be a job for your successor trustee. If you don't do it while you're still alive, your successor trustee then takes the photo albums to a place to reproduce them. It's going to cost a lot of money, but it's worth it to try to distribute, the photos to everybody. For some families, it's just, I don't know how you would do it, but you'd have to figure out a way to get the photos reproduced. And if it's going to be a lot of money, you can let the kids look through and say, yeah, I want this photo or that photo. But I think the easiest way, a lot of times, just spend the money, get the photos all reproduced, get them all put on, a CD or a DVD or a flash drive or an online account and get it done professionally. And that way, all the kids have access to all the pictures. But with your estate plan, I really believe that the way to go is get at least a basic estate plan. If you can't decide what to do with specific items of personal property, that's not a problem. Don't put it in your trust at this point. You do a trust, you give the distributions equally to your kids or however you want to set it up initially. You can always amend it later, but something is better than nothing. And I believe, especially in estates where there's some complexity, especially maybe there's a blended family, maybe there's a yours, mine, and our situation, or, however that works, but they're not the same children for the husband and wife that have been married for 50 years. Anytime you get anything outside of that, the scenario of the mom and dad had all the kids and they all still love each other, anytime you get outside of that, you got to be more thoughtful. But at least start out with something and then build on that. I've always recommended that you do a basic estate plan, you do a basic trust, give everything to the kids in equal shares, basically. That may seem oversimplified, but having that will keep it out of probate. If you set up the trust and you put your stuff in it, we will transfer the house, we'll transfer the rental property, we can transfer your corporations, your LLCs. As far as like working with, like if you're going to transfer cars or mobile homes or motor homes or whatever, there's other things that we got to talk about how that gets done. Some of that gets done by my office, some of it gets done by you after we're done with the trust. So once everything is in that trust and taken care of, then the trust will prevent the estate from going to probate. Sometimes there's an amount that's outside of the trust that will cause a probate for that particular item. Okay. It's not, it's not very common, but what we've seen several times is you'll have this estate, all this money in the trust, $3 or $4 million in the trust. And then there's a bank account, like a retirement account or something that's outside of the trust. And the beneficiary is dead, the named beneficiary. That's money outside the trust that we need to now put through probate to get it into the trust so we can distribute it to the beneficiaries. So sometimes you have a trust administration getting ready to distribute, but then there's one asset that is stuck outside the trust. Typically it's an investment account or it's going to be some type of retirement account. Those things, sometimes we have to go through the probate court to get an order to move them into the trust. A couple ways to do that. There's kind of a long, slow, absolutely for sure way. And then there's another way that we can shortcut it. And a lot of times we can shortcut it and the court will let us. And if not, then we go with the full probate. So we're always trying to avoid probate, but what we're really trying to avoid is family destruction. And the more organized you are, the more definite your plan, the sooner you get it done, the better. If you get your plan done and then you amend it, then it's like, okay, it's like reconfirming what you wanted. Now some changes here and there, but don't wait. And I don't know how else to say it. I'm not begging for business. I am just really wanting people to keep peace in their family the best they can. And when you're not here, you really don't have that opportunity anymore, obviously. But because you don't, you can do the best you can with paperwork. When you set up an estate plan, what you're doing is you're providing written evidence of what you wanted. Written evidence of what you wanted. And if you don't leave that evidence, it's all guessing. And if you're guessing, and the kids are guessing, then you have problems because they all have different opinions. And as long as they don't talk about it, as long as they don't mention anything, as long as they don't try to do anything, kids tend to get along. And as soon as you start to push it and say the successor trustee is like really trying to finish it up, that's when things get tight. So get your estate plan done, 855-500 trust. Don't wait till next year. Just get it done, get the basics, get it out of the way. You can feel good that you did it. 855-500 trust. Tomorrow, we've got we're going to talk about HECMs and reverse mortgages with Shane Sletter. Wednesday, we've got our real estate guy, Ken Pecos. Thursday, Anthony Wright for finance. And you're listening to The Word on Wealth, and we'll talk to you tomorrow right here, same time, same station on The Word on Wealth. Goodbye, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Tell a friend about The Word on Wealth, featured since 1995, with financial solutions,
Excellent.
estate planning,
Thanks
wills
for your help.
trusts, and tax.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let this
Yeah.
run until there's the disclaimer. And then, because right now it's still recording for my YouTube live.
Okay.
Of your family.
You're still getting this though, right? On your YouTube stream?
Okay, here
The
comes
information you hear on The Word on Wealth is for general information.
I know you get tired of saying that you might, I don't know. You might get tired of saying the same thing over and over about people and their trusts and stuff.